Hey friends, so today I will be walking you through the sketchbook. It's called Sketch! The Non-Artist Guide to Inspiration, Technique, and Drawing Daily Life. This is by France Belville Van Stone, and she wrote this book, and I thought it was such a cool book. I have some things in here which are not part of it, but so I just wanted to walk you through what the book is about. So it's basically saying that you can draw with what you've got and where you are now. So I love the premise. It's such a nice inspirational book. Just so you know that this is actually part of the 100 Days of Craft Books project that I did last year. So if you look up the hashtag 100 Days of Craft Books, you'll see the sketches that I worked on during this book. So the project itself was work on a different craft book for 10 days each. So this was, I think, the second book in that series. So let's get into the book itself. So it basically shows you her drawings like throughout the entire book. And what I love is that a lot of these are just very minimal. Well, in terms of materials, they're very minimal, but in terms of detail, they're extremely detailed. So like you'll see kind of like these cross hatchings. Like she's very, very good at cross hatchings. Like I think that's like her jam. But it really inspired me to start doing cross hatching as well. So she kind of brings you into like preliminaries. So like at the beginning, there's like a quick introduction of who she is and like her childhood and that kind of thing. And then there's like kind of like an intro to like what her art and drawing career has been like. So this one was stunning, which this is a drawing using just a big pen on Bristol paper. So it's your basic pen, like a ballpoint pen, and she just used some sketchbook paper and created this incredible portrait. I mean, obviously the materials are very limited, but the skill set is there, so it may be a little intimidating, but I just love like her whole style where it's like why should you draw, and like just kind of getting you to thinking of like it's so nice to have that kind of like mindset where you're just drawing the things around you, sort of like to keep kind of like a memory of like where you've been and like what you've been doing, which is really nice. And like her whole premise is really about, you know, like just instead of like taking a picture, why not just draw it? And then it's like the thing about drawing is that it really brings you into the moment, and you really have to notice the things around you, and you really pay attention to the details and like what angle they're at, what the shadowing is like, the colors, things that you just don't normally notice just at quick glance. For example, this is just paper on a sketchbook. This is just regular pencil on a sketchbook. And like it's just so amazing. Like her cross-hatching skills are really amazing, if I haven't said that already. But yeah, this was a doodle in her high school, and this was also with some ballpoint pen on some Bristol paper, which is crazy. So her supplies list, which I love this chapter, is all about the tools that she uses. So she uses some very basic pens, like she uses some Pilot pens, which are your general ballpoint and gel pens. She does have like some fancier things like watercolors, but not watercolors, fountain pens, but generally her things are, she tends to go more with basic pencils and basic ballpoint, but she does walk you through different line widths, that kind of thing, and using different types of pencils like white pencil and like what kind of eraser she prefers. And sometimes she does add watercolors to her books, to her drawings. I feel like as I'm looking at this, I'm saying the words without thinking. So I see books and I say books, but I meant pencils. So yeah, like she does say that she uses a sketchbook, like a proper like moleskin sketchbook, but she also just uses like random paper that she finds. So I just wanted, I think the garbage truck is here, so I'm sorry for the noise in the background. So there is this, she's just using loose leaf paper here. And what she uses to carry everything is just a purse. She doesn't use anything fancy. And the basic techniques, which I thought was amazing, like I really like this section where it's like she kind of walks you through blind contouring and how to do cross hatching, which I really got into. She really, like, sort of this chapter is more about like loosening up your idea of what art needs to be and just sort of like start making marks on paper. So Zentangles was a part of it, and she just kind of goes through different things here. So she talks about like, you know, like when your time and resources are limited and how you really want to draw whenever you have time. So when you're sitting at wherever, like waiting for something, you can draw like on the train, on your bus, or your doctor's appointment or whatever. So you just like making sure that you make the time. So it's more about being conscious of drawing more as opposed to having like a perfect setup and a perfect time. Like, you know, it doesn't have to be like that perfect Saturday afternoon where you're like looking at the lake or something and feeling inspired. It's about finding little nuggets of time. So, wherever you are. So the idea is, you know, like, can you find 10 minutes of just time to just draw? So like she even draws here wherever she is, like, and you can see it's like very everyday items. So she'll draw things in her kitchen, in her backyard, wherever she was, like at an office, or I think it's a bank tellers. And then she just kind of, like, her whole premise is basically draw wherever you are with what you've got, with however much time you have, which means that you can either have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour. You can have fancy paper or just printer paper. You can have like really nice pens or just use a ballpoint. You can draw at some, you know, art class or whatever, or you can just draw wherever you are and just draw the things around you. Like she really gets into the prompts, so the prompts are really great. So she just says, like, you know, when you're at the airport just waiting around, just like draw things that are near you. So like she just draws her own purse, which I thought was great, and like just, you know, fruit that is in your kitchen. She does mention at one point like how she when she's cooking, she just keeps a sketchbook on her counter, on her kitchen counter, and she just draws for the 5 minutes that she has between different steps in her cooking, which I thought was really great. And I started doing this a lot more when I started reading this book, and I really found myself like gravitating towards the most common things that I never noticed. So like even cups, like your own desk. Yeah, like she really just emphasizes working on things that are around you, like things that you own. I mean, I personally love sketching like my own shoes for some reason. Like I find that really calming, and I mean, it's stuff that you wear every day, but you don't ever look at in detail. So it's kind of nice to give the items that you use so much, to give it like that kind of appreciation, to give it that time and effort and focus. So yeah, like she just goes around like basically her house, like kitchen, her keys, her living room. When you're at a meeting, which may or may not work depending where you work, and like just messes. And there's one part where she organizes things, and she just kind of, I think I might have already passed it, where it was like collections of things that you might want to draw. And yeah, honestly, I think this is such a fun book because it kind of breaks you out of that thought process, like of, you know, needing to find the perfect place, the perfect pen, the perfect sketchbook, because I feel like as artists or like aspiring artists, like you really want to get like the perfect thing right away, but it's really about practice. And you can see that like if you just practice a lot, like you can get incredible drawings with the most simple materials, which I find incredible. Like I think it's just so inspiring. And if you see her Instagram account, she shows you detailed process videos where she just sketches with a regular blue ballpoint pen, and she just makes the most gorgeous portraits of people. So I wanted to quickly show you what I worked on during that 10-day process when I was going through this book. So I did write some notes to myself, and drawing is about the drawing, not just the drawings itself. So it's about the process, not the actual outcome. What kind of material she uses. I did write down a few of these things that I kind of wanted to check out. And then I did like this kind of just like doodly kind of exercise that she mentions, and I finally tried out Zentangles for the first time, which I kind of didn't like, which is surprising because I thought it would be like the perfect thing for me, but for some reason looking at a reference and trying to draw the reference was really distracting for me. I much rather, if I'm going to do like a meditative type of doodle, that I just create my own pattern and I just kind of go for it. Like trying to replicate another pattern, it feels like it takes me out of the flow, which is just, it could just be me. I know like Zentangles is very popular, and I personally really thought I would be a fan, so I was surprised that I wasn't. So these are some blind contours. I tried some cross-hatching of my markers, and I really got into this. Like, I really love the whole cross-hatching. I've started drawing more things around the house and like cross-hatching in general. I even drew some notes that I had, and this was a poem that I really liked, and I just wanted to draw it. It was kind of funny because I drew the actual clipboard and some paper that was on it, and then I just wrote in the poem that I liked. And these are the prompts from her book, which I just thought was really cool, and I wanted to keep just some notes on it. And these are things on my desk. So this was a little box with a little rubber ducky on it. And this is when I was on a trip. I had a really long, I think it was like a 4 or 5 hour train ride. So I literally drew my phone and I was watching a YouTube video, and this is the cup of water. And when we were on the trip, there were definitely some downtime. So I drew it was a lamp in my boyfriend's old bedroom in his parents' house, his parents' glasses, a mug, my boyfriend's shoes. This was actually on the way back from from Ottawa back to Toronto. So yeah, it was actually kind of fun because a lot of times I feel like we create these ideas of like what we should be drawing, and really if you just look in front of you, there's so many things you can draw, and it doesn't have to be anything exciting. It could just be something that you use all the time and you just don't appreciate as much as you could. So I really enjoyed this book, and I think if you need like a bit of a pep talk, or it's not even so much of a pep talk because she's not like, oh, you can do it. Like, she's not like that kind of person. She's just more like practical, like, you should draw, you should appreciate the things around you, you should take the time to appreciate the moment that you're in, and that kind of thing. But it's not like woo-woo or anything like that. Like, it's way more practical, which kind of speaks to me more than anything else, which I think is why it resonated more with me. And it definitely, I just really liked it. So I don't want to keep rambling, but I think if you are looking for a book to get some inspiration, I definitely recommend this to check it out. I got this copy at an old job because they sent it in. I forget how I got this copy, but I think it was like from a free table that we had, because like the editors get free copies of books and sometimes they give away the books. So I grabbed a copy, so that was really fortuitous. But yeah, I think if you can grab it from the library, or if you want to buy a copy, there is a list in the description box down below with a list of all the books that I think are really cool and interesting. So they may be more like inspirational or actual like craft or drawing books. So they're all in there. So make sure to check that out. And that is everything. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments about this book. I would love to hear it. And yeah, always leave a comment. Like, it always helps to see like who's watching, and if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions for future videos, I'd love to hear that as well. Thank you so much for watching again, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.